ARCI Durban provides an exclusive rehab treatment for alcoholism and drug addiction. The only rehab in South Africa that offers a medical detox treatment. We offer a superior, evidence-based and medically cutting-edge approach to the treatment of addiction. If you have been frustrated by repeated failures at rehab recovery or are unaware that there are proven anti-craving medications that can significantly improve treatment outcomes, give us a confidential call to learn more about ARCA Durban's rehab program. Contact ARCA Durban on 078-2722-911 24 hours or call our office number 031-261-5515 and our Johannesburg number on 0622-770-911. Office number 011-656-0705.
The south coast of Durban is known for its pristine coastline, beautiful blue beaches, lush forests, and hidden gems. It's become the holiday destination for tourists and locals. Positioned in Scottsboro is the Blue Marlin Hotel, another fantastic destination to visit. Attentive staff with smiles all round make for a guaranteed pleasurable experience. Delicacies catered from either their a la carte or lavish buffet menus are sure to tantalize and satisfy. The accommodation boasts nothing but the best for a luxurious overnight stay, and here at the Blue Marlin Hotel, you are sure to receive that experience. In 2020, President Cyril Ramaphosa announced GBV as South Africa's second pandemic and that it needed to be taken as seriously as the coronavirus. Already named the rape capital of the world by Interpol, South Africa continues to grapple with increasing rates of domestic abuse, sexual violence, and femicide. Police Minister Gbv recently announced that more than 9,500 cases of GBV and 13,000 cases of domestic violence were reported just between July and September 2021. Over the same period, 897 women were murdered. Joining me today is Jessica Shah, the mother of Sasha Lee Shah, whose life was brutally taken by her ex-boyfriend about 2 months ago. She was shot to death. Our laws are supposed to empower us, to strengthen the fight against GBV, and to bring to book perpetrators of this heinous crime. What happens when the law fails us? The government has also introduced new laws to protect women and children in South Africa from abuse and violence. Despite these efforts, GBV continues to be a plague in the country. Jessica, welcome to African Essence. I'm so glad that you've taken the time to come out. I know that this is an extremely difficult time for you. And on behalf of African Essence, I'd like to extend our heartfelt condolences on the loss of your daughter.
Thank you for having me. It is a very difficult time. It's actually the most difficult time in my life. And the hardest day that I've had in my life is when I had to say goodbye to my daughter.
Tell us a little bit about your daughter, Sasha. What was she like as a little girl?
She was the most pleasant little girl. When she passed on, she was 25 years old, but I still called her princess. And that is the manner in which she carried herself. I would always say to her, a woman's true beauty is found when she opens her mouth and when the words come out of her mouth. And she carried that true beauty throughout her life. She was a joyful little child. She enjoyed spending her time with her brother. She's 3 years older than him. And I remember very clearly when she started grade R, she used to come home after school and she used to teach him everything that she had learned in school that day. And he would say to me, "Mommy, she's teaching me again." And that's how she was. She loved baking. She enjoyed cooking. She did it from a very young age. From the age of 2, they were dusting the carpets, dusting the furniture. And that's who she was. She wasn't someone who clung on to friends. She did have a small group of friends whom she was very loyal to and she spent time with.
And now tell us about the relationship and the strong bond that you shared with her.
The bond that we shared was such that I did not interfere in her life. I respected her privacy because even though she was my child, she was a young adult. And whenever she needed to talk to me, she would come talk to me. And she, as I said, she didn't have this habit of going out with friends. So she would go with me for lunch. She would go with me for supper. We'd do our shopping together. Whatever it is that she needed to be done, I would do with her. And she recently started driving. Even though she had the 2 corneal transplants, she still got her driver's license. She started driving. She had her own vehicle. But even then, we used to do things together. And the thing that stands out for me most is when her birthday would have been on the 8th of December, she would have been 26. And when she did her birthday shopping, because we were almost the same height and we wore almost the same size clothing and shoes, I would say to her, "Lee, go and do your shopping first, and whatever you choose, thereafter I would choose," because she loved black, I love black. And I didn't want to overshadow her. She was my daughter. And throughout her life, I always put her first. And I made sure that I never, ever overshadowed her.
It sounds like you really shared a special bond
We did,
with her,
yes.
obviously. Which mother and daughter wouldn't?
Sasha was not just a daughter to me, but also a caregiver, in the sense that she helped to take care of me, to bath me, to feed me. I am very ill, and my children had to feed me bath me and clothe me at certain times. They had to pay the bills. They had to clean and cook. And Kyle has not just robbed me of a daughter that I had a very, very close bond with, of a sister whom her brother had a very close bond with, of a family who loved her dearly and wanted to be a part of her life. She brought joy to everybody that she spent time with. She touched the lives of everybody that she met. And even though she was a very passive, soft-spoken woman, her words were few, but they were profound. And my child fed me. Sometimes I was lying in bed, helpless, and she fed me. Right till of recent, she took me to my doctor's visits, and he's robbed me of that.
To get news like this must have been traumatic, to say the least. No mom or dad expects to get a call in the middle of the night or whenever to hear such tragic news. What was that like for you when you got a call with such bad news about your daughter?
It was shocking. At first I didn't want to believe it, based on the circumstances and the trials we were facing with her being stalked in the past few months. We were very cautious of where she went and whom she was with. And at that time when she left home, I had messaged Kyle's mum, and just before she left, and I asked her, where are y'all? And Kyle's mum said to me, they're still at the prayer that they had went to early that morning. And so I knew my child was safe because they were in Phoenix and we are in Umhlanga, and I let her walk through the door. I kissed her and I said to her, love you and be safe, let me know when you're home. And that was it. For me, it felt like a few minutes had passed, but it was actually quite some time that had passed. And I received a phone call from my son, and he said to me, Mum, please go to Gateway right away. I've been called and notified that Kyle is there shooting at Lee. And I said, what? And I immediately got to Gateway, past all of the red robots, etc. On my way there, I called his mum and I asked her, where is Kyle? And she said, they don't know. They've been looking for him themselves. And I said to her, I just got the message that your son is shooting my child at Gateway. And when I got to Gateway, I just got off the car and I asked, where is my daughter? And I just remember somebody pulling me aside, and that was it. It was absolutely devastating. It was shocking. It was scary. I was nervous. I was still hoping, let this not be true. But at the point where his mum said to me, they can't find him, then I knew he was there. As I got there, I saw an ambulance, and as I got off the car and I looked left and I saw my child's car, and I was running towards her vehicle asking, where's my daughter? And somebody grabbed me and pulled me aside, and somebody said to me, she's been shot but we're working on her. And then I remember saying that, the hospital is just here, so can't we take her to the hospital? And why are we wasting time? What are we doing? And then I don't know who it was, but somebody kept saying to me, like, we are working on her. And I just remember at that time I was wondering, why is this happening? How did he find her? She was okay. He was in Phoenix. She was here with me. And then she just went to the shop. And in which time did this happen? How did all this happen? All these thoughts were running through my mind. And then I was still praying and saying, this child needs to be okay. And I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I could say I was confused at that time. I didn't know what to think. I was so hurt. I was so upset. I was wondering what's going on. And then suddenly I saw my brother walking towards me, and I said to him, Chris, how's Lee? are we taking her to the hospital? And then he looked at me. And then when he looked at me, I knew that something was wrong. And he said to me, she didn't make it. And that was such a horrible thing to hear. This was my child, and I raised her single-handedly for many, many years. And she struggled so much. She had Bell's palsy during her matric exam, but she still wrote her matric exam, and she got a few A's. And she was a straight A student, and that upset her that she didn't get all A's. But she did it. She had a books here. She used to have a books here, and she used to study. And she still got her university entrance. And then she had 2 corneal transplants. And she got through all of that only for me to hear that this had happened to her. She had COVID twice in the past 2 years. And I wasn't prepared to hear that. I don't think that any parent is prepared to hear that.
Exactly. That must have been traumatizing. Again, we are so sorry for your loss. To go through so much, you expect her to live a full life.
Yes.
And that was tragically taken. We are so
She
sorry.
was just starting to live her life.
Yes, exactly. Okay, Jessica, tell us about your experience when you visited the Durban North police station.
On the 2nd of November this year, I buried my daughter. It wasn't an easy task. And the Friday thereafter, I spoke to the detective in charge of her murder investigation. They had asked me to come to the Durban North police station the following Monday. And when I arrived there, I was told that the other family is not here. And I asked the detective in charge, what do you mean the other family is not here? And they said to me, well, Kyle's family is not here. And I said to them, but you know, at no point in time did you tell me that you were calling Kyle's family whilst I'm with you. You had merely asked me to come to your police station to give you a statement, which till date they haven't taken from me. And she said to me, please sit. I sat, and she said to me, your daughter was murdered. Our condolences to you. The person who murdered her killed himself. There's nothing more we can do. The case has been closed. For me, that was very cold. The last thing Kyle said to my child before firing at her was, so you with him now? And he murdered her in cold blood because his sister had showed him the photograph that she spoke about in the post of my daughter being with another young man, which is okay. My daughter had left Kyle. It was okay that she was with someone else. And then I asked the detective, how did the Indralal family get hold of the suicide note, because they've made statements on the media regarding the suicide notes? And she said to me that on the night my child was murdered, the police had released to the murderer's family the vehicle that he had removed his number plates off and followed my child in, the cell phone he had used to stalk her and message her and call her, and the 2 suicide notes that he had left explaining what he had done and why he had done it. And when I asked the detective why was this released to his family, she said to me it did not form part of the murder investigation. And for me, that is unacceptable. And it breaks my heart to have heard that. I am a person, I've always fought. Despite my illness, I still fight. I will fight for my child. She's not here to speak. I will be her voice. I will not only be her voice, but I will ask all of the other parents who've lost their children through GBH to join me so that we can all speak and we don't have to go through this again. We need to change the way protection orders are served. It has to be done correctly. The magistrate's orders need to be adhered to. And I don't want us to hear as a community, as South African citizens, or any part of the world, a member of society, a human being for that matter, I don't want another human being to hear that their child was murdered and all of the evidence pertaining to the murder was handed to the murderer's family on the night of the murder. No parent should have to hear that. It's devastating.
Yeah. Now, Jessica, with you creating, obviously coming onto a platform and creating some form of awareness for this gender-based violence being a main topic that needs so much of exposure, let's look at the legal proceedings that led up to this point that you did pursue in order to protect your daughter. Tell us about that journey.
In 2021 November, my daughter and I found out that Kyle was in a relationship with another young lady whilst he was in a relationship with my daughter. And Kyle and Sasha's relationship started deteriorating at that point. And I spoke to her, and I always said to her, if you would like to know how a man is going to treat you, you look at the way he treats his mom. And at that point in time, he had an estranged relationship with his mom, and it was getting worse from last year to this year. And I sent my child to our family psychologist, not for any other reason but to speak to her about her relationship moving forward. And the psychologist had also spoken to Kyle. And the reason I did that was because she's an adult child and I don't want to make decisions for her. I advised her, but I said to her the final decision was hers after hearing about this other young lady, if she was going to leave him or still remain in a relationship with him. And then she decided that she was going to leave him and she was going to do it gradually because he was obsessed with her. And she began doing that gradually. As it got nearer to her saying her final goodbyes, he began to stalk her. And for some reason, his family couldn't let her go either. His sister was insisting that she attended her wedding. And Kyle was stalking my daughter. He was messaging her. He was calling her literally 100 times a day. She blocked him on all platforms. And because he worked for SBV, they used to get SIM cards, I think, where they dispose of them. They use them for the day and they dispose of them. Yes, so he used to call her from those numbers. He used to message her from those numbers. He used to be in his work uniform with his work firearm, a rifle, and be following my child. I don't know how he did all of that. The one time that stands out for me is this year, July, when I went to fetch her from the airport because she was on a work trip and she came home. And when I got to the airport, Kyle was at the airport before me in his work uniform with his rifle. And I asked him, what are you doing here? But that is the extent of his obsession with her. That is what he did to her. And he couldn't take no for an answer. And she said to him, she said to me, Mommy, I've left Kyle. And I said to her, Lee, I actually fasted and prayed for you to leave Kyle because I'm not happy with what is going on. And I said to her, my prayers are answered. And so I said to her, what made you leave him, after all this time? And she says, Mom, but I've given him so many chances and it's always one woman after the next. Right about 2 weeks before he murdered my daughter, his mum and younger brother called us complaining that, he was chatting with other women. He was at the beach with another young lady. And she said to them, you know what, I'm not even with him anymore. And you'll know that. All of y'all know that we're not together. So why are you complaining to me? And she said to them, it's not my business. I don't need to know these things. And it just went on from there. For some reason, they could not accept that she had left him. Kyle could not accept that she had left him. And the stalking just continued.
And how long, you served a protection order against him. How long did that last up until the actual incident?
The protection order you see, she wanted to get a protection order around April this year, but his mum and his sister kept saying to us, please don't do it, please don't do it. I'm sure for those of you who've read the post, you'll see there that his sister said, they were worried about his reputation. And I don't understand that, because it's been brought to our notice that, there was a previous protection order from the other young lady last December against him. There were also 2 active cases of GBH against him, and one of which was reported as an attempted murder case. So what reputation his sister was talking about, I'm not sure. And when they said that, I said to them, you know what, my child's life is more important here. Because when we pleaded to the mum for help, she said to us she doesn't want to get involved. And I remember picking up the phone and saying to her, this is your son, how can you say you don't want to get involved? And so it went on like that, and they kept pleading with us not to get the protection order. And the one day, whilst we were out to lunch, Lee, my sister-in-law, and I, he messaged my daughter and he said to her, I'm parked behind your vehicle, I'm removing your tire. When you're ready to talk to me, let me know. And we rushed back and got there, and I even took a photograph of him, parked behind my child's vehicle. Thereafter, he said to her on another occasion, that this was the following week, Saturday, he said to her, come down, I'd like to talk to you, because, there's this question of her still having spoken to him. She spoke to him right to the point where she got the protection order against him, but just before that, he owed her a large sum of money that he had borrowed from her, and he had smashed her vehicle. So he was saying to her, come talk to me, so I'm going to repair your vehicle. And then eventually we got to the point where I said to his mum, if you are going to repair this vehicle, then I'm going to bring the vehicle through. Don't talk to my child anymore. And yes, if you have any intentions of repairing the vehicle, repaying the monies owed, do it via me. Don't have any contact with her. And then he pulled her into the car and he drove off with her. And I had messaged his sister and I said to her, you know what, your brother has, because I was actually asleep that day. And when I woke up, we were going to a family dinner and she wasn't in the house. And I called her phone and her phone was ringing in the house and she wasn't there. And that was very odd, because she would never do that. And I started panicking and I called his mom, his brother and his sister. And I said to them, well, something is not right here. And then that Monday she went to court, which was in September this year, and she got an interim order. When she explained her situation, the magistrate had asked for his firearm to be removed, because I think based on what she had told them, the evidence she had showed them, they said to her that he's posing with psychotic behavior. He's presenting with psychotic symptoms, and the police need to remove his firearm. She went to the Pinetown Magistrates Court because she works in Pinetown, and she then brought the order to me when it was granted. I personally went to the Phoenix police station because he lives in Phoenix, and I dropped off the protection order. I personally went to the Phoenix police station and I picked up the return of service, and when I looked at it, the captain of that department had served the order on him. So I do have in my possession the interim order, the evidence that was attached to it, and the return of service that proves that Kyle received the protection order. Why his firearm was not removed is just, for me, negligence on the part of the police, and I cannot understand why they would take something so serious so lightly. My child has lost her life because somebody has failed to do their job. And what I would like to actually say to the police is, if you could close your eyes for a moment and put yourself in my situation, that your child left home and she never returned. She came home in a coffin. And if the tables were turned and I failed to do my duty and you lost your child, how would you react? Because that's where we're placed now. And I may not be able to bring my child back, because death is something so final. There's There's nothing I can say or do. My hands are tied. When my child went for her operation, I could send her for the operation, you know, even though they told us there's a chance that she could come out blind, but she went for the operation. Death is something you cannot reverse. And my child is dead. That is the reality. And there's nothing or no one that can replace her.
Jessica, for a mum out there that might be struggling with a similar situation, they've lost a child to gender-based violence, what would be your words to that mum or dad? Words of encouragement.
It is so, so difficult to even say anything at this moment. I must at this point say thank you to everyone that stood by me, because there are so many people that stood by me, family, friends, members of the public. You know, I created that Facebook page in memory of her, so just people that I don't even know. And my encouragement to other parents in my situation is to reach out for help, to reach out to a point where people, for me, are praying at this moment, and they deserve the same, you know. And if something is not right, to actually fight for it to be put right.
A young life was taken. She was robbed.
Yes.
So much potential left, and she had so much to offer. There are communities out there that would want to hear a message from you. What can us as a nation do? Even the authorities, what would you like? I know you have so many questions that are unanswered, and as much as we can demand for answers, we probably will never have the closure or the answers to give us that closure. But what can we as a nation do? If you had a message for the authorities, for just communities as a whole, to come together and try to continue to prevent gender-based violence, what would that message be? What can we as a nation do?
My message to the nation and to the state and the police is that we take the application of protection orders seriously. Because what I find that is that when a person goes for a protection order, they have had to have gone through a lot to get there, to actually apply for the protection order. And the fact that they're there in court and they're applying for it needs to be taken seriously. I think that's where we have been failed as a nation. And for the police to have to read through that protection order before serving it, because when I called the Phoenix police station and I spoke to a person in the department where they serve protection orders, I was told that they do not read through because they have a large number of protection orders that they serve to the community. And for me, that is unacceptable. You're being paid to do that job. You're dealing with a life and death situation. Had you read the protection order, the interim order that was passed from the magistrate to your police station, where she asked for the firearm to be removed from Kyle, my daughter would still be alive. We need to start taking these things seriously. We need to start taking the cries from women and children seriously. I find that when you go to the police stations and you ask for help as a woman, then you are termed nasty names. You are made out to seem like there's something wrong with you. Why do we have this mindset? That mindset needs to change. If a woman or a child is in trouble and they're crying out for help, we need to help them. We don't need to mock them. We don't need to make fun of them. And we need to make them understand that they are being heard and that they will be helped.
So Jessica, for those parents that maybe want to reach out, that maybe decide, you know what, they want to have something to say, they want to fight, you know, where can they reach you?
I've created a memory page on Facebook, and it's called In Memory of Sasha Lee Shah. It's a public platform. There's also another page called Justice for Sasha Lee. That is also a public platform.
Jessica, thank you so much for being so brave and coming onto the show and sharing the life of your beautiful daughter with us. And we'd like to extend our heartfelt condolences once again to both you and your son. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us.
Thank you
so much. As a country, we have seen much public discord and intellectual energy being misspent on discussing GBV and doing so little about it. Can we talk less and do more? Can we make stricter laws? And can we have people look deeper into police standing orders so that more victims can be helped? Thank you for watching. Don't forget, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, The African Essence Television Show. Goodbye and God bless.
Didn't know today would be our last, or that I'd have to say goodbye to you so fast. I'm so numb I can't feel anymore. I'm praying you just walk back through that door and tell me that I was only dreaming. You're not really gone as long as I believe. There will be another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight. Always made my troubles feel so small, and you were always there to catch me when I'd fall. In a world where heroes come and go, well, God just took the only one I know. So I'll hold you as close as I can, longing for the day when I see your face again. But until then, God must need another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight, singing hallelujah. Just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight.
The south coast of Durban is known for its pristine coastline, beautiful blue beaches, lush forests, and hidden gems. It's become the holiday destination for tourists and locals. Positioned in Scottsboro is the Blue Marlin Hotel, another fantastic destination to visit. Attentive staff with smiles all round make for a guaranteed pleasurable experience. Delicacies catered from either their a la carte or lavish buffet menus are sure to tantalize and satisfy. The accommodation boasts nothing but the best for a luxurious overnight stay, and here at the Blue Marlin Hotel, you are sure to receive that experience.
ARCI Durban provides an exclusive rehab treatment for alcoholism and drug addiction. The only rehab in South Africa that offers a medical detox treatment. We offer a superior, evidence-based and medically cutting-edge approach to the treatment of addiction. If you have been frustrated by repeated failures at rehab recovery or are unaware that there are proven anti-craving medications that can significantly improve treatment outcomes, give us a confidential call to learn more about ARCA Durban's rehab program. Contact ARCA Durban on 07827229111 24 hours or call our office number 031-261-5515 and our Johannesburg number on 0622770911. Office number 011-656-0705.
A person's fragrance says a lot about their character, and spritzing yourself with a delightful niche fragrance has become a luxury of self-expression. Entrepreneur Sade James, no doubt a fashionista, a lady of style and grace, knows that your fragrance should say a lot about you. She has carefully selected UAE's finest perfumes, making it available right here in South Africa. There is certainly a fragrance within her wide selection to match your character and suit any occasion. Whether you are a fan of the fruity, orientals, florals, aquatics, gourmand, and more, at UAE Fragrances, you will have it all. The most luxurious brands available. Let your scent introduce you.